I am introducing the printmaking presentation. This will be for grade levels 8 through 10. Pretty much the enduring idea is printmaking allows for the spread of information. So the rationale why this is important, this lesson is vital for students to understand the role printmaking has played in the mass distribution of ideas, especially the popularization of iconographic and stylistic traditions, the conventions of shared visual media and culture. Printmaking can be inexpensive. Printmaking can be used by everyday materials. Printmaking can become part of culture because of how it can spread and reach wider audiences. From a single matrix, multiple images can be generated. Some of the key concepts. Printmaking has helped the spread of information via iconographic styles. In printmaking, producing a unique work of art is mostly defined by the artist's style and personality. Through history, printmaking has been used to reference what the times were like. Printmaking can have multiple interpretations depending on the viewer. Historically important because identical copies of written work could be reproduced repeatedly. Through printmaking, storytelling and information could reach wider audiences. Just a lesson 1 overview. I will start from the history of printmaking for the students to learn about the different art form. I will then transition into how ideas were spread through printing and other important uses of printing. Then I will discuss as a class the effect on a social level printing is responsible for through an integrated task. Then I will discuss materials used for printing and how they can be inexpensive or found objects to make art. Then I will hand out sample linoleum squares and then have students begin to practice the various tools, edges, line weights, and values created by the relief prints. So this is my hook. I'm starting off with an image of a relief print, and it's actually printed on wooden, and I would have the students guess and depict what the image is about and why it was created and where they have seen it before. I will then show them the artist and tell them when it was made and what it signifies. I will ask them if they've seen it anywhere else. It has been used and produced in many different outlets, and I want to know if they've seen it. I will then begin to tell them the origins of printmaking and how they originated, some scholars will say, in early China on woodblock prints. I will then talk about how other cultures have used relief printing and how they have made it work using found objects that they had at the time. I will then talk about how in the West, Gutenberg had made the printing press, which was a wonderful invention that allowed for the spread of religion and other messages across a wider nation. I will get them to talk about how mass distribution of ideas is important and talk about why they were printing this and what was important and significant about the messages being told. The integrated performance task will be a conversation around printmaking, making connection to how ideas were able to be easily spread around the world with the refinement of the printmaking process. I will ask if they can guess the importance of printmaking in relation to those, and I will try to get them to see personal relevance. In the game This or That, it will be an assignment where students will guess which idea has been spread far and wide because of the invention of printmaking. I would ask essential questions, concepts worded into questions for students to decide what ideas have been widespread. For example, I have an image of a fairy on the left and then water on the right. We know that fairies have started in a specific region and through the use of printmaking has been made more wide known and widespread versus just oral or folk telling. Another image contains a print Christmas card which spreads messages of joy and Christmas throughout the world versus a plant. The next is a comic versus stones, and I would ask them if they had any more ideas and talk to them about how technology has changed and how printing is now laser or inkjet and then talk to them about other various contemporary forms of printing. I will then begin to show them what contemporary artists and what the messages they were trying to convey. I will ask them if there is any historical relevance to this, and how the colors and the weight of the image and the weight of the print might convey. I will then show them various forms of printmaking using silkscreen and etching, and show them other forms of printmaking, and so they can see the wide diversity the art form has. Then, learning about printmaking, the history, values of the value of the history, and the use of the tools and materials of practice. I will then introduce the art form of linoleum to them. Through the video of a famous artist named Betsy Bowen, I will have them watch the video and begin to think about what line movements mean and what they might convey. The video is about 5 minutes long, and through the video they will get to see an artist at work, and they can start to think about what they might be working on. I will then ask students to think about what lines mean and what they might convey. I will show them many slides and get them to start questioning what line movements might mean and the various lines. I will then ask students to take out their sketchbook and draw various lines, swirls, scribbles in their sketchbooks. Then I will demonstrate the process of transferring the students' sketches onto a sample linoleum piece. I will talk to them about the practices and how it might be printed, how the raised sides actually prints, and how the image can be cut into the soft linoleum with a cutting tool or gouge. With the sample pieces that I will pass out, I will have the students trace using a ruler to create straight lines and to separate it into 4 separate pieces. The samples will need to be made with thick, thin, geometric lines, curvy lines, and organic, also geometric shapes. I will have them print a total of 4. To demonstrate even distribution on the straight line image, a clear image, and clean image, I will have students take notes, have students create their own checklist, inking process, and the demonstrated tray, ink, and brayer are used. Many prints will be created to get the best print. Some prints may come out too light and some dark. I will have the students then create a checklist of the process and tools I used and demonstrate. That will be part of my assessment. They will not be allowed to go forward with the checklist until I have approved. Once the checklist is approved, students will have 2 weeks to make 5 or more sample pieces and sample prints using the 4 different matrices. Once they finish, they will learn about proper drying and care techniques. Some of the objectives. Students will demonstrate an understanding of proper linoleum print techniques using various tools. Students will create their own linoleum print using proper linoleum printing tools to create a unique, unified work. Students will understand the important role printmaking played in the spreading of information. Students will understand that perspective and personality show within print, and that each print will not be the same. Students will emphasize trial and error, and it is important in the process. Students will utilize form and color. It is important for students to understand that print is a single impression of an image that has been transferred through pressure to a surface, usually paper. This is an example of my rubric, and I have 4 separate categories. Now, I will remove the numbers for the final, but I just did not have time to include them, and I wanted to be honest. But capturing a style of an image, knowledge gained through the technique, I will have students talk about the line movement and what they use and what it means, and then their sources of inspiration. Thank you. That is the end of my lesson 1.